The year is 1919. The Great War, a conflict of unprecedented brutality, has finally ended. Germany lies in ruins, defeated and demoralized. The Treaty of Versailles, harsh and unforgiving, has been imposed upon the German people. The German economy is in shambles. Hyperinflation has crippled the nation. Millions are unemployed, their life savings wiped out. The once proud German people are burdened with crippling war reparations. Resentment and anger fester. This is the fertile ground in which extremism will take root. A defeated nation searching for answers, a people desperate for a savior. The stage is set for a charismatic leader to emerge, a leader who will exploit their anger and despair. In the chaos of post-war Germany, a young, disgruntled veteran named Adolf Hitler finds his voice. He joins a small, fringe political party known as the National Socialist German Workers' Party, the Nazis. Hitler is a gifted orator. He taps into the anger and resentment of the German people. He blames Germany's woes on the Treaty of Versailles, on the Jews, on the communists. His message resonates with the disaffected. The Nazi Party, once obscure and marginalized, begins to grow in popularity. Hitler's fiery speeches attract a following. He promises to restore Germany to its former glory. He offers scapegoats for the nation's suffering. Emboldened by his growing popularity, Hitler attempts a coup d'état in 1923. The Beer Hall Putsch, as it becomes known, is a disaster. The coup fails. Hitler is arrested and imprisoned. While in prison, Hitler writes My Struggle. This rambling, hate-filled manifesto outlines his twisted worldview. It becomes the blueprint for the Nazi Party's ideology. Though imprisoned, Hitler's message continues to spread. The failed putsch transforms him into a martyr for the cause. Is a dangerous cocktail of nationalism, anti-Semitism, and racial hatred. Hitler espouses the superiority of the Aryan race and the need for a 1,000-year German Reich. The book lays bare Hitler's chilling vision for the future, the extermination of the Jews, the conquest of Eastern Europe, and the creation of a vast German empire. It is a blueprint for genocide and war. Though disturbing, is initially dismissed by many as the ravings of a madman, but for those desperate for answers, it offers a dangerous appeal. The seeds of hatred are sown. Section 5. The Great Depression and the Nazi Surge from Fringe to Forefront. The rise of the Nazi Party from a fringe group to a dominant political force is a story intertwined with the economic and social upheavals of the time. The Wall Street crash of 1929 sends shockwaves around the world. The global economy is thrown into disarray, and no country is left untouched by its devastating effects. Germany, still reeling from the First World War, is hit particularly hard. The economy collapses, and the fragile Weimar Republic struggles to maintain stability. The Treaty of Versailles had already placed a heavy burden on the German economy, and now the situation becomes even more dire. Millions are once again unemployed. The streets are filled with people standing in long lines for food at soup kitchens, and the sense of despair is palpable. Families are torn apart by the economic strain, and the social fabric of the nation begins to fray. In this climate of fear and uncertainty, the Nazi Party flourishes. They capitalize on the widespread discontent, presenting themselves as the saviors of the nation. Their propaganda is pervasive, promising a new dawn for Germany. People are desperate for solutions. The newspapers are filled with headlines about the economic crisis, and the air is thick with anxiety. The population is eager for any glimmer of hope, any promise of a better future. They are willing to listen to anyone who promises a way out. Political rallies become the focal point of public life, with Adolf Hitler emerging as a charismatic and persuasive figure. His speeches resonate with the masses, offering a vision of a restored and powerful Germany. Hitler's message of hate and scapegoating finds a receptive audience. He blames the nation's woes on various scapegoats, including Jews, communists, and other minority groups. This rhetoric of division and hatred strikes a chord with many who are looking for someone to blame. The Nazi Party grows rapidly, gaining support from all segments of society. From the working class to the elite, people are drawn to the promise of national rejuvenation. The party's disciplined and organized approach further bolsters its appeal. They exploit the anxieties of the time, promising jobs, prosperity, and a return to greatness. Their propaganda machine works tirelessly to spread their message, using every available medium to reach the populace. In the 1932 elections, the Nazis become the largest party in the Reichstag, the German parliament. This marks a significant turning point as they now have the political power to implement their radical agenda. The stage is set for a dramatic and tragic chapter in world history. Section 6, the Reichstag fire. A nation on edge, a power grab achieved. On the night of February 27, 1933, the Reichstag building, the symbol of German democracy, is engulfed in flames. The fire rages uncontrollably, lighting up the night sky and sending shockwaves throughout the nation. This catastrophic event marks a pivotal moment in German history. The Nazis are quick to blame the communists, using the fire as a pretext to consolidate their power. They launch a massive propaganda campaign spreading fear and suspicion among the populace. Civil liberties are suspended and the government takes on an increasingly authoritarian tone. Political opponents are arrested and imprisoned without trial. The streets of Germany see a wave of arrests as the Nazis target anyone who might oppose their regime. Intellectuals, activists, and ordinary citizens find themselves behind bars, their voices silenced. Fear and intimidation grip the nation. The German people, once hopeful for a democratic future, now live in constant anxiety. The atmosphere is thick with tension as neighbors turn on neighbors and trust becomes a rare commodity. In this atmosphere of manufactured crisis, Hitler persuades the Reichstag to pass the Enabling Act. He presents it as a necessary measure to restore order and stability, but in reality, it is a calculated move to dismantle the democratic framework. The Enabling Act grants Hitler dictatorial powers. With this new authority, he can enact laws without the Reichstag's approval, effectively sidelining any remaining opposition. The balance of power shifts dramatically in his favor. With this act, the Weimar Republic, Germany's fragile democracy, effectively comes to an end. The hopes and dreams of a democratic Germany are crushed under the weight of authoritarian rule. The era of the Weimar Republic is over, and a dark chapter in German history begins. Hitler and the Nazi Party are now in complete control. They move swiftly to consolidate their power, reshaping the political landscape to fit their totalitarian vision. The German people, now under the iron grip of the Nazis, face an uncertain and terrifying future. Section 7. The terror begins. The Nazi grip tightens. With absolute power in hand, Hitler moves swiftly to crush all opposition. The Nazi Party is declared the only legal party in Germany. Trade unions are banned, freedom of speech and the press are abolished. A secret police force, the Gestapo, is established to root out dissent. Concentration camps are set up to imprison political opponents, Jews, and other undesirables. The reign of terror has begun. Hitler's policies are implemented with ruthless efficiency. The economy recovers, but at a terrible cost. Individual rights are sacrificed in the name of national unity. Germany is transformed into a totalitarian state. Section 8. The road to war, expansion and aggression. Driven by his twisted ideology, Hitler sets his sights on expanding the German Reich. He ignores the Treaty of Versailles, rebuilding the German military. He annexes Austria in 1938, claiming it as part of a greater Germany. Emboldened by his successes, Hitler turns his attention to Czechoslovakia. The world watches in apprehension as Hitler's aggression grows. War seems inevitable. On September 1st, 1939, German forces invade Poland. World War II has begun. Hitler's thirst for conquest will plunge the world into the deadliest conflict in human history. Section 9. Remembering the darkness, safeguarding the future, lessons from the abyss. This chapter delves into the profound lessons we must learn from one of the darkest periods in human history. The rise of Hitler and the horrors of the Nazi regime stand as a stark warning from history. It was a time when hatred and bigotry were allowed to fester and grow unchecked, leading to unimaginable atrocities. They remind us of the fragility of democracy and the dangers of unchecked hatred and intolerance. The events of Kristallnacht, where Jewish homes, businesses, and synagogues were destroyed, serve as a chilling reminder of what can happen when prejudice is allowed to thrive. We must never forget the millions who were murdered during the Holocaust. Each life lost was a story cut short, a future stolen. The images of concentration camps and the suffering endured by so many are etched into our collective memory, and the countless others who suffered under Nazi tyranny. From political dissidents to the disabled, the Nazi regime's reach of terror was vast and indiscriminate. We must remain vigilant against all forms of extremism, prejudice, and discrimination. The fight against these evils is ongoing, and it requires the collective effort of all of us to ensure that history does not repeat itself. By remembering the past, we can learn from its mistakes and work to create a better future. The post-W2 peace treaties and the solemn ceremonies held in remembrance of the Holocaust victims are testaments to our commitment to never forget. We must cherish and protect our democratic values, ensuring that the darkness that consumed Germany will never again engulf the world. Democracy is a precious gift, and it is our duty to safeguard it for future generations. By standing united against hatred and intolerance, we can build a world where such atrocities are never repeated.